The United States has released footage of a Russian fighter jet colliding with an American drone. The US Air Force says 2 Russian aircraft conducted an unsafe and unprofessional intercept of the unmanned drone in international airspace over the Black Sea, close to Ukraine, on Tuesday. The Russian jets were accused of dumping fuel on the drone and striking its propeller, causing damage so severe that its remote pilot was forced to bring it down. We're joined now by former Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. Now, as a former pilot, give us your take on what has happened here.
It's an amazing bit of footage, isn't it, for the 21st century. The US claimed that a couple of Russian jets have downed one of their $32 million drones. The Russians denied any involvement. But earlier today, the Americans released video footage of this. It's taken a while because they have to strip it of all of the sensitive information. There's normally loads of overlays on there. But it's pretty clear what's happened from that video footage. There were 2 passes by the Russian aircraft shown here. The first one, they're jumping fuel. The first one gets very close to the drone, but actually seems to miss it, and actually not. You can see it's running up. The propeller is at the rear of the drone here. And then the second aircraft, might have been the same aircraft or its wingman, has another go at attacking it. This time gets much, much closer to the drone and actually impacts the propeller. If we look at a couple of stills, though, from this transaction. The first one is it's just on the attack where the Russian aircraft is starting to release some fuel. Now, normally you have a fuel dump system. If you have an emergency, you need to lower your weight before you land the aircraft. This is not, the Russian pilots aren't doing it for that reason. They're trying to use fuel as a weapon here, and they're trying to completely douse the drone, particularly the engine at the back, with aviation fuel, which will either blow up or cause the engine to fail. And that's why they're trying to get so close to it. If we look at the second image, though, close up, this is just before the impact. And this is because the drone operates at relatively slow speeds. I mean, it's 200 miles an hour, still sounds fast, but relatively slow, and it's very manoeuvrable at those speeds. Most military jets, this jet will operate normally up to 8 times as fast as that, and it's really not comfortable at those slow speeds. It wallows through the sky. And when you watch the video through, what's happening is they're trying to get the jet as close as possible. Last minute, the Russian pilot realises the closure rate is just awful, pulls back hard. You can see the curve of this plume here, and actually just blows it and washes into the jet and actually hits the propeller. The propellers on these drones are really fragile. If they're taken out, the drone goes down. Almost certainly damage the Russian aircraft as well, but of course, we'll probably not ever hear any more about that.
So is this definitely an accident or incompetence?
Well, I think the first thing is that this happened in international airspace. It shouldn't actually have happened at all. Routinely, Russian aircraft come and enter UK airspace. We go and intercept them very professionally, but we don't shoot them down as soon as they come in. Almost certainly the Russians were not planning to shoot down if they wanted to do that, they'd have used bullets and just taken it out. Almost certainly they were messing around with it, and the Russian incompetence led to the challenge. So I think the attention at the moment will turn to the recovery of this drone. We don't know exactly where it went down, but it was in the Black Sea, probably relatively close to Crimea, and that's the backyard of the Russians. The Americans would be concerned about any sensitive material that went on, but almost certainly this incident wasn't a provocation by the Americans. It was almost certainly an act of incompetence by a Russian pilot. They don't get that much training. They don't get that many hours. The challenge, of course, with such tensions in the region, these accidents can have unintended consequences and really could lead to an escalation in this conflict.
Yeah, incompetence can lead to that as well as deliberate action. Thank you very much, Sean, for taking us through all of that.